Are you gutsy enough to buy real estate during a crash? I'm gonna ask you some really hard questions. Stay tuned to find out exactly what I mean. Promise you, it'll be worth it. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. So glad you could join me here today. Do you have the cojones to buy real estate during a crash? When everyone around you is saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. When every media headline is saying the world is gonna crash. Do you have the courage to buy during that time? I can tell you, 99% of the people won't buy during that time, no matter what you're telling yourself right now. I see it happen twice in my career, and I'm gonna elaborate more on that in the story a little bit later. But I'm making this video as a follow-up to last week's episode about the price correction and what it could look like. So if you wanna check it out, link is up here. It takes a lot of guts to go against the grain. To be a contrarian, to be labeled the black sheep is 100% uncomfortable. We as humans just wanna, fit in and be part of a community and belong somewhere. And when you mix money into all of this, this is exactly why most people won't buy something during a crash, because it's crazy if you think you are going to do that, right? So story time. Let me roll back the clock to summer of 2017, right? Right after the introduction of a foreign buyer tax, where detached homes in a 905 such as Markham, Richmond Hill came crashing down by 20% plus, right? I had a bunch of clients I was looking for homes with in the late 2016 before all this happened, where people were just throwing money, unconditional offers on houses, way over asking without seeing the property with ginormous deposits. Crazy times, right? But many of my clients at the time, normal people, were just getting beat out and eventually stopped looking. Yes, searching for a house can get emotional and very exhausting. Who would have thought, right? So in June 2017, I told them, look, prices are down 20% right after foreign buyer tax, and you know what? Now is your opportunity to buy at the prices you were originally looking at without competition, and look, you get conditions. Guess what? Nada. What if prices keep dropping? That was a common sentiment I got. The crazy thing is one of the buyers was renting at the time too, so it's not like they were going to sell low in the other place anyways if they're upgrading to a 905 home, right? Crazy. But that's what happens when you let emotions get the best of you. It's just human nature, right? So if this is the type of real estate content you enjoy, then be sure it helps us spread the knowledge out there. Smash that like button, subscribe to the Prime Properties channel, because every single week we put out awesome real estate content just like this right now with stories, right? Because look, we want to be real with you in the real estate market. There's a lot of crappy stuff out there. And by being transparent and honest, you hope that whenever you're ready, you're like, oh, buy a home, invest a property, move up. You're like, Zen, that guy was good, right? So you can book a call with me to strategize your future from the real estate side, right? That's why we're doing all of this. So circling back to the whole story, right? Prices stayed low in the 905 detaches for about 3 years, right? So in 2019, late year, like October or so, when prices slowly start inching back up because nothing to buy, right? Guess what? One of those buyers from 2017 was still waiting on the sideline until then, and they said, you know what? We are ready to buy again, even though it made no sense because prices were going up. Anyways, right? My whole point is, they only decided to reach out because prices started going up. Crazy? I don't know, but that's just the emotional ups and downs of listening to people around you that don't understand what's going on, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna get priced up, right? Guess what? Prices escalated so quickly at that time due to no inventory, and they didn't act. Then March came and the pandemic hit, and they freaked out again, and you can imagine I said the exact same thing a few months after that in June 2020 or so during the peak pandemic price drop, as it was record low in the 905 again. However, instead of acting on this, which they saw before, they stay put. Granted, makes sense, pandemic, right? No one knows at the time. Then prices escalated so fast they got priced out. To this day, the buyer, I believe, is still sitting on the sideline as far as I know. I'm telling you the story not because I'm trying to shame them, but it's to illustrate to you a point that how emotions and what they could do to your psyche when you're buying a home, right? Obviously, that story I illustrated to you was the worst case scenario because it had two back-to-back crazy things happen. But if this buyer just bought at the onset, regardless of what people told them around them or the media headlines, they would have been fine. They had great jobs and good incomes to carry the mortgage, regardless of what the home price is, because you're accountants. So whatever the market is doing, you only ever make or lose money if you sell. If you don't, it's irrelevant, right? So for people who are living in the property, the price movement of your home is irrelevant unless you buy or sell or sometimes refinance, right? So a lot of people like to quote the whole Warren Buffett thing in these situations where it's like you want to be greedy when other people are fearful and be fearful when other people are greedy. Look, while that is somewhat true, you really have to look at your own personal situation to see, with your logic, what it makes sense with the data as well. Not emotions or reading headlines. There won't ever be something where there's no risk situation, because you have to understand this. You just have to know how to manage it, because it's going to happen anyways, right? The flip side to this is the story is that a few clients that took me up on my offer to buy something in June during the pandemic, they're all laughing right now about how much their properties are worth and how real estate is the best thing since sliced bread, because they're refinancing like $100,000 out of their property. while this obviously doesn't happen very often, it's a very rare occasion. Some people want to call it luck. I would call it a calculated risk, right? So luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. And regardless of where you stand in real estate prices and the direction of the market, you still have to look at the logic and data to see what works for you instead of what people are just like rampantly telling about media headlines, right? Because everybody's situation is different. And that's why there's no kind of like blanket statement I say either like, oh, this is the next thing you should buy and invest, because it doesn't exist, right? Everyone's situation is different. So if you're looking for a more personalized approach, so you want to tell us your story about what you're doing with real estate or where you want to take it, whether it's investing, buying your first home, moving up, you can schedule calls with me using the link right here. It's www.chavzan.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch them both.